Welcome back to another episode of the Be Who You Came to Be podcast. I'm your host, Tara Renze. If you know the flow of the show, you know this is a solo episode, just me and you having a little chat today. I have to tell you, I have been recording podcasts like crazy, and we have an amazing lineup of people coming on the show over the next several weeks, several months this summer. Just a really powerhouse lineup of entrepreneurs, past military professionals, thought leaders, just normal people like me and you. I actually am trying to get 2 people on the show. Well, actually 3, just because I thought it would be fun to do like a family series where we could do like a couple mini clips where I want to have one of my sons on. Jack says that he would come on, which if you guys know my son, Jack, if you follow me on social at all, he is just a cool kid. I would love to have Ben on, but Ben's like, low key, like, I don't think I want to come on your show. And then I want to have my husband on because he's just such a wealth of knowledge, a great human being, an amazing dad, a smart businessman, like financially so savvy. And then everyone wants my mom to come on, which Nana would be very, very fun to have on the show. But today, it's just me flying solo with you. Anyway, I just had to plug some of those upcoming podcasts that are coming up because you guys, it's going to be so fun. In the meantime, if you want more of the Tara Renze behind the scenes, follow me on Instagram at Tara Renze. I've been featuring my mom on there a lot lately, and everybody's here for Nana. She has really funny insights, really funny things that she says, and she's just so dang cute. But today we're going to be talking about when everyone has an opinion, choose yourself. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Don't worry about other people's opinions. We talked about this a little bit on the show before, but what I want to talk to you about today is something that happened to me recently. I'm going to share the story with you here, where you're really excited about something you created. You feel so proud of it. You feel so good about it. And then bam, people start weighing in. They start giving their opinions on what you created and what you just did. And it can be so deflating and so defeating and truly make you question what you created, who you are, what you're doing. You know, I love that Taylor Swift has this saying. She says, there's really nothing worse than being super excited about something and someone makes you feel stupid about it, or someone makes you feel small about it. Like, why would anyone ever do that? You know, it sucks, right? So I recently had this happen to me. If you guys know, I self-published my book, Be Who You Came to Be, during the pandemic. I'm super proud of my book. I love my book. I tried to write this book many, many times from different angles, you know, thinking that, it had to fit this certain mold. Like, it had to look like all the business books on my shelf. I grew up in the corporate world. I consider myself well-read, lots of different books. Now, in total transparency, I haven't read every book from front to back, but I have thumbed and skimmed and taken different things out of a lot of different books. By the way, I'm using this app called Headway. And it gives you like little nuggets of books. And every day I walk my dogs for 20 minutes. And it's been a great way to just like get a little nugget of a book. But anyway, so I had all these preconceived notions when I first started writing my book of like what it should be. And finally I was like, why don't you write the book that you want to write, Tara? Like, why don't you write this book from your heart and let the people who need it find it? And so I did. I wrote the book from my heart. I created the book exactly like I wanted it to. I wrote the book to women, because I really liked having that very specific defined audience. When I first started speaking, I spoke only to women. And the Be Who You Came to Be message has grown, and my confidence in the message has grown, that I know it's not just for women, it's for people of all ages and all areas and all times and spaces in their life. But it really resonated specifically with women so much early on. And I love that the book was written to that very defined audience. You know, I decided I want to make the book pretty. I put a gold foil cover on it so people could put it out on their coffee table. I wanted the book to have small chapters and little ways to take away. You know, I just told you I've skimmed a ton of books. This was like, I love a book like this where I can pick it up, dive into a chapter, take a nugget out of it, set it down, and then, do it again the next day. And so when I finally gave myself the permission to write the book that I wanted to write, and then let the people find it who wanted the book, who needed the message, who were going to love it. Like, it was that, like, the law of attraction, right? Like, you put yourself out there and the right people will find you. Shine your light in a bright way and the people who need the light will find it. And you know what? It worked. Like, I'm proud to say I self-published. I published it 2 times, actually. Have sold over 6,000 copies of it personally. It's been on Amazon, but it's it's an Amazon print on demand. When you self-publish, how it works is all the books come to your house and then you're in charge of shipping them all out. So we've had quite the shipping and receiving happening at our house over the last, gosh, has it been 3 years since the book was first published? And then if you order it on Amazon, it's print on demand, meaning that you order it and then they print it when you order it, and then just prints on paperback. If you've ever considered writing a book, write the damn book. Like, I would love to introduce you to the people I self-published with. I loved working with them. They were so great. But it was time that we moved production out of the, shipping and receiving out of the garage and out of our living room. And I ended up signing with Amplify Publishing. And my book this summer it's been rewritten. So it's officially going to be published by a publishing house where the copies won't be shipped and sold out of my house. And it'll be at bookstores. And when you order it on Amazon, you'll actually get the book, the real book with the hardback cover. So now that I've been babbling on about this, here's what happened. The publisher was like, look, this is a beautiful book, Tara. I love it. And he's like, but I really think you should put a wrap on it. And I think you should put your picture on the cover. Now I was like, oh my God, no way am I going to put my picture on the cover. That's, the book is called Be Who You Came to Be. And it's not about me, it's about them. Even though, a lot of it are my stories, things that I've learned along the way, and trying to help other people be who they came to be through my own personal realizations that I've had. And so I started to noodle on it. And while we were updating the book, the new book has a lot of new secrets in it, has a new preface. It's just a totally updated new version. And it has a new journal with it as well. I'll tell you guys about that in a little bit. But I started to really think about the cover. And I actually, had to call my life coach, Heather, in, because I was like, damn, why am I even considering this? Like, I don't know. But the publisher was so adamant on, like, he's like, I really think it needs your picture on it. He's like, if we do it the right way, I think you'll see it. And so Heather was like, look, why don't you have them make you up a couple mocks of the cover, see what it's like. She's like, I think when you see it, you'll know. So they sent a few mocks over and I was like, ugh, no, this is not it. It didn't have that vibe that I wanted the book to have. And then they sent over one cover and I was like, holy shit. Like, I'm feeling this. Like, it was my picture on the cover, but it was a picture that I actually didn't really think when I first saw that picture. I was like, oh, that's going to be the book cover. But the way they designed the cover, I was really gravitating towards it. So I decided, hey, let's just see what people have to say about this. And wow, I mean, it was instantly a major point of contention where people had so many opinions on whether I should put my picture on the cover. And let's just say that, like, a lot of the opinions on it were not even really nice. Like, they were actually pretty rude. Like, well, you're not, one person said, you're not a celebrity. Like, nobody cares who you are. Like, why would you put your picture on the cover? Some people said, I actually had one person say, it was a man. He said, I don't know if you know this, but your picture on the cover is just not relatable. Like, no one's going to pick this up and be like, oh, I want to be like her. Which was really hurtful almost. It was like, whatever you do, don't put your picture on the cover. I had just a lot of different feedback that the thing is if you ask for feedback, you have to be willing to accept it. And this was one of those times where I was accepting it, but it was feeling hurtful. It was feeling, like it made me want to play small. It made me not want to put myself out there. I ended up finally thinking, like, okay, one of the things about my book is it's been gifted a lot. Like, companies have bought it. individuals have bought it for, 10, 20, 30 friends, their teammates. It's been gifted a lot. And so I was like, maybe I should ask them, like the people who bought the book over and over and over, like I'm curious to what they would think. So I enlisted some of my, super fans, and I said, hey, this is totally confidential. And I hadn't actually showed the book cover to anyone at this point in time. I had just said, what about if I put my picture on it? I said, hey, could you look at this and tell me what you think? And it was unanimously, you need to have this picture on the cover. Like, Tara, I love your book because I feel like it's conversational between me and you, like, almost like big sister, best friend, trusted counselor. You're vulnerable enough where you're telling stories about yourself where, like self-deprecating, it was just, they're like, you're just so open in this book that like, being able to put a face with it would just be amazing. They're like, I do love the aesthetic of the first book. So it was so interesting. As soon as I had this validation from the people that mattered most, I knew that I wanted to have this picture on the cover. And what's cool is I worked with the publisher, and we're actually keeping the hardback book the same. So it's going to have that same beautiful gold foil on it. And then the wrap actually has my picture on it. I can't wait to announce it and show it to you guys. I'm really proud of it, and I'm really excited. But I wanted to bring this up to you today because I think that so many people made me feel like the book was about vanity over value and visibility, and about me owning my message and who I am and what I look like and how I show up in the world. And it was about getting people to actually be drawn to the book. Like, will they be drawn to the book? Like, would they pick this book up? And I wanted to bring this up to you today because this isn't just about my book cover. It's about your book cover, metaphorically speaking. It's about you and how you show up. And are you being true to yourself? Are you comfortable with who you are? Are you comfortable with how you look? Are you comfortable with what other people say about you and how you look? Or are you hiding because you're afraid that someone's going to talk about you, that you just don't look right or you don't feel right? And so you just water yourself down because, God forbid, if you put yourself out there in a certain way, people would talk about it. My friend Judy Holler says, people are already talking about you. So why would you ever put a cover on a book that you feel like is safe, or you wouldn't want to be seen, or that you wouldn't want to put yourself out there because someone might judge you? The truth is like, I did write the book. I actually had a lady once tell me, I was in we were on a pre-event call, and I had a couple pictures of my brand pictures in my PowerPoint. And she was like, hey, you need to take all your pictures off the PowerPoint because I just don't think you're relatable. And I was like, well, I am going to be the person on stage delivering the message. And she was like, I know, but it's different when you're in person. And again, she's the client. I took all the pictures off. I replaced them with pictures of a lot of different types of women, which I respect that. I felt like I wanted to be relatable, and I wanted to show up as she wanted me to show up for the audience. But it's also it's hurtful. When someone says something about you, whether it's a backhanded compliment, or something that doesn't seem totally sincere, it is hurtful. And, we all want to show up as ourselves, and we want to be accepted for exactly who we are. And I bring all of this up today because I think so many times in our lives, we put a cover on ourselves that's not really what we want. It's not really who we are. We water ourselves down, we play small, we take the safe route because we definitely don't want to put ourselves in any place where we might draw attention to ourselves, that the light might be on us, and that, we would have to, God forbid, deal with someone's opinion of us. But being who you came to be is about really truly showing up is that most vulnerable and authentic version of yourself so that you can find the people who need you. You're not going to be for everyone. not everyone's going to like your book cover. Not everyone's going to buy your book. It's like goes back to the raving fans. Like, but how are you ever going to find those true people in your life that need you, that truly need you to be exactly who you came to be, if you're not putting the cover on the book that you really want? Because God forbid someone might have an opinion about it. I really want you to think about your life and say like, hey, where am I doing this in my life? Where am I putting on a cover that's not really who I am because it's easier, because I fit in this way, because I don't have to, I don't have to answer to other people's questions or to other people's opinions. What if you started showing up as exactly who you came to be and silencing the voices that really don't matter, that don't impact you, that have no impact on you and who you came to be? Because everyone's got an opinion on everything. So, for me, when it came down to the book, I really had to ask myself, like, does this cover, when I look at it, does it reflect exactly who I am, who I came to be, and what I want people to feel when they open this book? And yeah, I felt like it did. Like when I started to look at the cover with this image of me on it, and it's not some flashy image of me, it's actually me with like a half smile, really gazing out at this person of being like, let's chat, let's talk. Like, hey, this is me. This is who I am. I'm Tara. I wrote this book, Be Who You Came to Be, a note that changed my life and the secrets that are going to change yours too. And I would love for you to come pick up this book and let's have a conversation. Let's dive deep into these secrets. Let's talk about, what it means to be who you came to be. And once I finally thought of it like that, of like, hey, this is me, like with open arms on the front of the book, inviting you into my world, so that I can be part of yours. And together we can unlock new levels of success and authenticity and self-love and self-regard, and love for other people and empathy for giving other people the space to be exactly who it is that they came to be. And, even with the noise, I was like, yeah, this choice actually reflects exactly what I want the reader to feel, which is this warm, compelling, almost hug of like, hey, I'm here and I'm putting my picture on the cover of the book so that you know who I am, you know what I look like, you know who's telling you these stories. But I also felt like it really emulated this level of warmth and of love of like, hey, you're safe here with me when you read this book. And I want you to be here with me as exactly who you came to be. In fact, I'm going to read you the cover of the book and the outside of the book so that I can share that with you. And I think it'll give you a little bit of a better understanding of why I chose that. I'll end the episode with that. But this week I want you to fill in these prompts for yourself. If I fully owned who I came to be, if you fully owned who you came to be, what would you be doing? If you fully owned who it was. If I weren't afraid of judgment, I'd finally do what? Say what? Show up where? If you weren't afraid of judgment, who would you be? How would you be showing up different? One opinion I'm releasing this week is, what is one opinion that you have it's been so heavy on your heart that you're like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm so tired of this opinion keeping me from being the best version of myself. It's one person's opinion. Just so you know, someone else is going to have an opinion, be like, I think it's amazing. I love it. I think it's great. Other people's opinions don't matter. What matters is what's in your heart. And if you feel brave enough to do it, I would love for you to tag me, message me, send me a something or other, a DM, and let me know what you're doing differently. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the mini book here. I have a little mini version of the book. This is the picture. We'll be sharing this in the show notes because it's going to be available for pre-sale. But I wanted to read to you a little bit about what I wanted the words to say with the image, so that if like, hey, you saw the book in the bookstore, you pick it up, What does the back say? And I think this is just what this also podcast is about, is helping you be exactly who you came to be. Be who you came to be. Read that again. It's more than a phrase. It's your calling. Within these 6 words lives powerful truth. You weren't born to fit in, perform, or pretend. You came to be you, authentically, boldly, imperfectly, and purposefully. You don't need another self-help book to tell you how to fix what's not broken. You need a roadmap to remember who you already are, one that reignites your purpose, elevates your self-regard, and gives you permission to stop chasing someone else's version of success. Be Who You Came to Be isn't your average step-by-step guide. It's 43 entertaining, honest, unfiltered, and thought-provoking secrets to unlock the most powerful version of you. It's rooted in the life-changing words of Tara Renze's 87-year-old grandmother, be who you came to be. What started as a blessing to her newborn son became the message that transformed Tara's life and tens and thousands of lives globally. Now it's here to transform yours, because you didn't come to be more like them. You came to be you. So I got to tell you, all the things that you guys struggle with, I struggle with too. And I created this show, this message, my talks, my book, to try to help you get closer to that person that you are. You know, my favorite quote is Michelangelo. When they asked him how he carved the statue of David, he said, I saw the angel in the marble and I carved until I set it free. And when I went to Italy last summer, I learned something really interesting about the statue of David. And that is, it was Michelangelo's first sculpture, his first piece of art that he actually created from his heart. Before that, it was priests and commissioners and wealthy people. They would commission artists to do work for them. They'd be like, hey, I want a painting to go here. I want a sculpture for here. And here's what I want you to make it. And here's what I want you to have it look like. And they would work on the art for a little bit and they'd bring it back. And then they'd say like, oh, change this, do this. And so it was never truly their art. And what's really amazing, and I think it changed art forever, was when Michelangelo was tasked to carve this statue. It was the first piece of art that he ever did that was his, that was from his heart. And the notion of, I saw the angel in the marble and I carved until I set it free. Who are you and who did you come to be outside of other people's opinions and telling you how to live your life and what you should do and how you should dress and what you should wear and what you should put on your book cover and what you should say and who you should be friends with and what your political opinion should be and so on and so forth? Who are you? What cover do you want to put on your book? How do you want to show up? At the heart of you as a human being, if you were to carve and carve and carve and carve away at you, who is that angel in the marble? That's who I want you to show up as. I want you to be brave enough to be exactly who you came to be. You guys, this was a vulnerable episode today for me. I hope it inspires you to chip away at that person that you came to be, to put the cover on the book of your book, to show up as the best version of you, the most unapologetically authentic, beautiful person that you are, and to be exactly who you came to be. Thank you so much for listening. Live unapologetically authentic, keep shining, and you know it. Be who you came to be.